for the moment, anyway, at least.
Woo!
Restream chat. I'll get that up so that we can see who else there. What's up, Marsha? How you doing? What's up, Shark? Welcome to the show. All right, are we at least getting close to dawn, or did I totally screw this up, Brant?
We're getting, I don't know. It's still dark, but we can deal.
Yeah. So we got 38th Parallel Gaming. What's up? How's it going, Valkyr? John, Hunter Troll, how's it going? Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are having a wonderful day, Network of Trumbull. Welcome there. Andre, Merc, Cypher, what's up? How's it going? What's up, Jakester, Airy Twitch? Hello, hello, hello.
Jakester.
Network of Trumbull, is that an old name or a new name?
Oh, I'm guessing that's probably just their screen name at the moment. Fenwick, what's up?
Oh, yep, we got raided.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Or else the three of us were going to show up at Jeffrey's house with angry looks on our faces.
No, not his house, just his stream, and be like, "What are you doing, man? Stealing our thunder."
I'd go to his house.
Oh, no more coffee.
What's up, Brian Menard? Fall down, go boom. How's it going, everybody?
Brian.
Tank, what's up? Yoda, what's up?
Oh, you said Fall Down's here?
Yeah, Fall Down's here.
All right. Fall Down, I'm going to mail out the things that I owe you in the next day or two. I promise this.
I have nice headphones, apparently, though. Sorry, Brant. You're going to mail stuff to Fall Down.
No, now I'm looking at your headphones.
They look a lot like yours, I think.
Mine were in a box in the bottom of a box when everybody moved out of the office, and I just grabbed them.
I need to invest in some new headphones and maybe a nice mic, because I've been noticing I just use like the Logitech plugged-in ones, and every once in a while for the past couple of weeks it's just been like pooping out, not just randomly deciding to not work, and it's one of those things where it's like I want to procrastinate, I hope it just stays fine, but I eventually will need to just get something before I need the headset for work or something, and talk to people.
You stream enough with us that you should get the company to buy you a set.
Yeah, I think I bought this set way back when we were still, in the office. So I've had them for a while, but they're noise canceling headphones. So sometimes I can't hear everything around all of the stuff. Can the makeshift bridge in Trumbull Valley be officially named the Sketchy Bridge? I don't know.
It's more patchy.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I defer to Lucy. Her wisdom is much greater than mine.
It wasn't a serious comment, though. We can call it whatever. Call it whatever sticks.
All right, folks, we got about 50 seconds.
Patchy Mitch Sketchbridge?
Sure, we can go with that.
Lucy, are you going to be watching Slack as well? Can I turn that off?
I do have a Slack window open, yes.
Okay, I'm going to turn this off. Because while I'm pretty confident that what I did fixed most of my lag problems, I think I want to make sure that everything is nice and not dumb today.
I'll try and watch the live stream Slack too.
You picked up the dog tags and the mission didn't activate. 38th Parallel Gaming, yeah.
Please make sure to submit a bug report. You can also join us on Discord, and do roughly the same thing.
All right, so my thing says it's time to start the show. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, everybody, here we go. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Joe Swarner, your customer advocate and your real estate agent today for the bases of Trumbull Valley. We're going to be taking a pretty close look at what they look like, at some of the choices that were made, and we're going to be presenting them to you in where my current thinking leads me to believe is the best power ratio. So we're going to go in what I think is their power order from least powerful to most powerful. And I think some of you out there are going to be a little surprised. But with us today, we have the interior designer and our esteemed art director, Mr. Brant Fitzgerald.
I think it's more interior decorator at this point.
Okay,
But-
well,
Let's get the job descriptions correct, Joe, because I'm very sensitive about that.
okay, all right. I'm so sorry, Brant. Interior decorator. Let me get
Hello,
that.
everybody. It's great to see everybody.
And of course the esteemed, I always say esteemed, I said something else in my notes, but anyway, we love her. She's great. And she's the architect for all of the bases in Trumbull to the best of my knowledge. And she's done all of the stuff that is making these things seem super awesome to all of you out there, and especially us here. And we love having her on the team. Lucy, would you like to say hello to the people?
Hey, folks. I am so glad that the update is being received well. I'm really excited to show these bases off because I had a lot of fun making them.
All right. And then I just realized a small problem. I can't look at my own notes, but we're going to start off as we're going around. Right now, we're at the farmland compound, which I have made my home on this group, but this is not where we're starting the conversation. We are going to start it at Checkpoint Delta. So let's move on over to the game screen. And let's take a look at these lovely flyers that have been coming up on our if you're not following us on Twitter, you really should. We've been putting out some fun stuff. Our YouTube videos as well. But Megan Bishop wrote this stuff here. Our wonderful community manager, and she came up with these real estate flyers. And this one should be for Checkpoint Delta. I hope it's for Checkpoint Delta. It is, because it says free. So anytime you're looking for a new home, coming into Checkpoint Delta in this area is certainly what's going to be helpful. If we take a look at what Checkpoint Delta is, one of the problems you're going to run into is that as soon as you start recruiting anybody, it gets to be a little below there. But I'm going to be quiet now, and I'm going to let Lucy and Brant talk about what we're going to see when we go to Checkpoint Delta.
Yeah, so with every map, we know we need a starter base. If people who've played the first 3 maps, so anything but Providence Ridge to this point, you understand that your starter base is always a suburban house, has roughly very similar built-ins, same number of slots. But in terms of design, the goal is always to make sure that base is not the player's final destination. And especially on this map where we have so many iconic locations now turned into bases, we wanted to make sure that players had extra incentive to move around. And the theming of having it be a military checkpoint kind of worked in our favor because there isn't really a whole lot left there. It's been pretty devastated, like a lot of the landscape of Trumbull by the time that our players arrive. So we're using all that in mind. It's definitely on the less powerful side of our starter bases, but that's also because some of our other bases are very powerful.
All right,
Yeah,
so as we
backing
approach over here.
I'm just going to back up Lucy's statement there. It's the checkpoint was absolutely a great choice for this because they weren't made for comfort. They're never made for comfort, and anybody who served on a checkpoint will know that even the ones that we made are pretty luxurious compared to what they were like in real life. So,
All right, so we're gonna try to take a look here right as you come in. Your first introduction to Trumbull Valley is right here at Checkpoint Delta. We're gonna have to clear out some space here. All right, so let's pull that away. So here's part of it. Did I hear a feral?
I hope not.
So
Okay.
Sunny Games asked if I made it that way to push people away to other bases, and once again, yes, partially. I don't want players to hate their experience when they first move in, so I wasn't trying to like deliberately make it terrible. But in terms of paying attention to how powerful it is relative to other bases on the map, I my goal was to make it on the sparser side.
Well, and Lucy and I, you and I had discussed how, like, on other bases, there were some disparities between, say, like mid-level bases that you had to pay influence
Yes.
for, and the
Yeah,
starter base. Was that
yeah.
part of your?
Definitely. Like when I first started playing State of Decay 2, the map I was introduced to, of course, was Providence Ridge, which we now use as like our introductory map for players. And unfortunately, like it had one of the not as strong points of that map is just the fact that you have a lot of really great high-end bases, but it's so difficult to get just from the starter base to the mid-level bases. I wanted to make sure players wouldn't have as hard of a time getting there, especially because of all the different, we want players to experience all these eventually. Snyder base, we will, I'm not sure.
The Snyder trucking warehouse is what they're talking about, Lucy, which was down here on this edge of Marshall, which is where one of my plague hearts is at the moment. But so the big warehouse.
We'll get to the other
there.
bases soon. Sorry.
All right. Anything more about Checkpoint Delta, or anything you want me to pay attention to here, Brant?
No, just that we had a lot of fun making the bases this time. There's a great back and forth between everybody involved. I would like to point out that that Megan, who did create the real estate flyers, also had a major part in lighting them this time. And unlike the bases that I lit, these bases look great when they're lit. Megan did a beautiful job lighting up these bases this time. So thank you, Megan, for that hard work on your part.
Yeah, Joe, which base have you moved into? Because we got to get you some power so that we can show off some Megan's lighting at some of these later bases.
Oh, I moved into the farmland compound, so we can talk about that one.
Okay.
And I figure that's probably, being the big one, that's probably the most popular one at the moment for a lot of the people who are filming in. But sorry, not filming in, who are tuning in. So anyway, but where we're headed next, and the next step in what I would call my power structure here is the second. Next up is we're going to hop over to Pterodactyl Park. Hopefully, we're seeing the thing that I wanted to see, because I'm kind of going flying blind a little bit. But
Lucy, there's a question. What's your favorite base on the map?
I have favorite things about a number of them. I think my top two are Pterodactyl Park and the Tranquility Factory. I definitely had a lot of fun making the facilities with those, because I feel like we got to stretch our wings a bit more creatively there.
All right. So now we are at Pterodactyl Park.
This is my favorite base.
Let me make sure that I'm doing what needs to be done here. All right, so Pterodactyl Park. It's only 500 influence, and it's pretty easy to clear out, considering it's right here in that one place, Spencer's Mill, and it's got 4 small slots, a large slot, actually 5, I think, if you count the indoor, and then there's got 4 up above. This is what it looks like here, Pterodactyl Park. This is what the base screen looks like.
And I'm pretty sure we only required 5 people to move into this space. I think that's what I ended up setting it at.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I think it was either 5 or 4.
It's a 4-person base.
Yeah.
Locked. We may want to thin out the infestations around here before things get rough.
Oops. So anyway, yeah.
But yeah, once again, focusing on the accessibility. You have the map still up on screen, Joe.
Yeah, I was trying to show that. Okay, there we go. So, there we go. Now we're looking around. It's going to be a little messy, but it's got the dinosaurs down here. Here's your large slot that's right at the bat. Uh-oh. That's not one we wanted to hear. Okay, come on through. Come on through. What's he doing? This guy seems to think it's a good plan. Alright, so over here, this is one of my favorite things about this base is you end up with 4 slots that are up on the roof. And just all of the things that sort of are decorative in here. There's a lot of personality in this base. And once you clear out this area, you've got 4 slots on the top. You've got a small slot, which I think is technically inside of one of these. I forget where it is, but it's inside one of these. Plus
there's like slot. 1 or 2 covered small slots because we wanted to make sure we had at least 1 small indoor slot for facilities that require that. Then the rest of them are on the roof, and it actually introduced some challenges for us with what built-in facilities and just what regular facilities we wanted to allow there, because we have never had small slots elevated like that before, where there's things that players can build beneath them.
Yeah.
People are asking here and there about the silent latrine, and originally that was not going to be one of its built-in facilities until I think myself, Jeffrey, and a couple of other folks in the playtest realized that there was a really weird question we were asking: if players could build a latrine on the roof of these trailers. Like, what happens if you build a kitchen beneath that? So then I forget which came first, the need or the joke, but one afternoon I was just remembering that we could put in a P as silent joke. So it was like, what, we can make a custom latrine and solve our issue with where we're allowed to place them in one fell swoop, and it makes the base feel a little bit more it gives it more character. I always feel like the bases with the most character are the ones that have their own special version of regular facilities.
Well, and this one was definitely like a love letter to all the streaming Jeffrey and I did in the first game, where we'd always go to Jurassic Junction. You could shoot the pterodactyl and it would fall down, and you'd put it into the back of a pickup truck and try and drive. And I always tried to drive it up here. So, and I almost never made it. But so the joke goes that they finally made it and posted it proudly.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. So there's a lot of sort of Easter eggy kind of stuff here too. But I really like how they the fiction of this base is that they utilized aspects of the Heartland Jurassic Junction base to shore up this one. It's just a lot. It was just a lot of fun.
All right. So as we are headed over to our next spot, nope, that's Pterodactyl Park still. All right. So the next one we're going to go to is the Red Talon Forward Operating Base. I think this is the 3rd most powerful. It costs you 1,500. It can be a little difficult to pull out, but it only has 1 small slot and only 1 large slot. But what it does do is it's a great introduction for players who haven't played Daybreak to get used to what those facilities can do for you. Right? There's a Clio core that you can use right from the beginning. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'll let the base professionals talk about. But essentially, I'm going to leave this up while they're talking about it and while we travel. And then when we get there, I'll take it back down. Okay.
I will answer one quick question that came up. The heavy weapon on Joe's back is the coffee can mace, which you can construct with what combination of facilities, Joe?
So the coffee can mace it's from the forge, and you have to have metalworking, if I remember
Metalwork.
correctly.
That's right.
So, or I guess it's just metalwork, not metalworking. Sorry about that.
But yeah, this base was another was one of the crazy idea bucket things we wanted to try with Trumbull Valley. For a while, Andy from the narrative team was really wanting to have a base that you could like where the player could interact with mission content to kind of unlock built-in features, and this we decided to kind of theme it around Red Talon, of course, because of the history with the area, and using just the existing Daybreak facilities was a good kind of starting point because players were already familiar with them, like we said, and not very many, like we don't expect the majority of the player base to have tried Daybreak and or find Daybreak fun because everyone's taste in gaming is different. So this is a great chance for players to kind of experience that. Although we had to make some concessions to make sure that it wasn't like more powerful necessarily than the existing facilities because these ones are locked down. The other ones you can pick up, and the let's see the other. I'm losing my notes here. We also named them a little bit differently to make up for that because we didn't want players just confusing, like going and expecting these facilities to be 100% the same as the ones you could buy from Daybreak and feel like their prestige was wasted on buying those.
Yeah.
So here we are at the Red Talon forward operating base, and so as you can see here, there are a couple of spots. Once you clear that out, that becomes your small slot over there. So once that little connex over there is cleaned up, that becomes your small slot. Now, one of the great things about this is these facilities down here. You can call in help to get them all back up and running, and you get to interact again with Chavez. It's super great. I don't want to go too far into what the narrative is because I think Jeffrey's going to be covering that in our next official stream, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But you come down here, you get some help from Chavez, you complete a bunch of missions, and probably my favorite thing about this base, is that right there. So when the power is on, this thing lights up like a Christmas tree, literally, like red, green, and white, and you can see it from like halfway across Fairfield. It is absolutely beautiful at night, and then with this backdrop here against Mount Tanner, it's one of my favorite spots in the game. It's just absolutely beautiful over here.
Yeah, that was the Valkyrie team who's been helping us out with content. They came in and they did some auxiliary help with lighting the bases, and one day one of them's like, "Do you want the Ferris wheel to light up?" And I'm like, "Why? If I ever said no, I'd quit my job, right?" So
who
they
doesn't want that?
Yeah, they made the colored lights, and it looks fantastic, and I love it.
Now, I've also been on this base a couple of times, and in terms of strategy, this little thing right here has come in super helpful more than once. I'm sad to say, or maybe I'm happy to say it. I don't know. But this little thing, this wall, like the way we just climb over it.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be a Daybreak forward operating base, so this was.
The earliest version of the base didn't have regular doors either, right? It was just we needed to put real doors in there for the sake of sieges. Unfortunately, sorry players, but it was fun while it lasted.
It would be sad if the only things that could get over the wall were ferals, right? Make all sieges just fully ferals.
Yeah.
Especially in lethal.
There were a couple questions. Yeah.
Does the Clio core in this base cost prestige?
It does not. It costs influence instead, and just like as we mentioned, how we don't expect the majority of players to. We don't want to force players to play Daybreak either in order to experience all of the base's content. So if you don't have prestige points, you don't need them on this base. You can just spend influence. It still costs. I think it costs a little bit more in terms of influence to prestige ratio than you're used to with just spending prestige points, but it's still cheap enough that I feel like you'll get the benefit you want out of it. We definitely talked about whether or not we wanted to incorporate any kind of prestige thing into this base, and with the other risks that were involved in it, we lean towards no, but it doesn't mean we will necessarily say no to that forever. We might look at it in the future.
The other thing I liked about this base was I had to create some new art objects for it to help me flesh out the stuff, and I used that opportunity to update the look of all the Daybreak facilities that you got from playing Daybreak as well. So they've all gotten a fresh coat of paint in the red Talon color scheme. I caught a little bit of hell on Reddit for it, but that's the price you pay.
Who doesn't catch hell on Reddit when a new thing
Truth,
comes out, though?
truth.
Right? Like somebody's gonna not like it somewhere.
So we had another question about why only the Red Talon base has quests for upgrades, and the simple answer is because we had never done it before. We had to do some. We had to kind of put our facilities system to the limits with making this content happen. And when we make new missions, we also, especially if they are based around certain characters, we want to make sure we have voice acting for them. So the amount of time involved, like we had to plan really far ahead in order to make that voice acting, make sure we had those assets ready. So it like I said, if this base is successful, I have no idea what the future of State of Decay will bring, but if we look into more facilities that offer quests, this is our proof of concept to see if players respond well to it, if it works well with our development pipeline, that kind of thing.
And we also brought back the shootable bell.
Okay, so only one question, Brant. Are you ready to run?
Oh, you're going to shoot the bell?
Yeah.
I'm running to the car right now.
All right, so here we go. All right, let's do it.
Oh, that's right. You guys are on lethal too.
All right, you're driving. You ready to drive?
Yeah, I'm ready to drive now.
All right, it's 3 o'clock. Let's go. All right, we're headed to Fort Marshall next, everybody. So let's bring that up. All righty. So when it comes to Fort Marshall is only 2,000 influence. It takes 8 people, I think, to move in, but it is so worth it. It's the first 8-person base that we've had that is only 2,000 influence, and I love the fact that we were able to play around with the costs and the locations and exactly what it's all about. It's got a great defensive layout, and we'll talk about that more once we get there. But for now,
we get there.
We'll get there. One way or another, we'll get there. Hell or high water. All right, so we'll put this up, and then I will come back and focus on the game. Not that I can do much other than pray that Brant doesn't kill us. Okay. All right, Lucy, do you want to talk a little bit more about Fort Marshall?
Oh yeah. So in terms of our overall goals for the map, we plan to have a starter base. We plan to have a couple of big end goal bases and then a couple of middle ones. Pterodactyl Park is one of our middle ones. The Red Talon base is technically counted as one of our middle ones for players who plan to grow their community with more than 5 or 6 people. And Fort Marshall is definitely one of your end game ones that you can try, especially if you are saving your Marshall content to the last minute because of how compressed everything is and how scary the Plague Wall Zone is. The story of the Marshall base was also, it has a very unique location, convenient to the rest of things that are going on down there. You're right next door to Tressie, and you have but we needed to kind of fit with the theme that the military was there, and then they had to have good reason to leave. Like, they didn't just leave because they got tired and needed a vacation. They were completely wiped or pushed out of the map by force. So the facility designs needed to reflect that. We wanted to make sure that that it was clear they had come here with a plan. So we have things like a built-in kitchen and Joe, you have something extra in your thoughts on these pictures.
Do I?
I think so.
Let
Anyways,
me see what's in there.
are you supposed to show that?
I have no
Okay.
idea. I don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't.
Okay, never mind. I think I'm imagining things.
Pay no attention to the thing behind the curtain.
Anyways, so in terms of endgame bases, another endgame base that worked really well for us in previous maps was the firehouse, because of players really responded well to having a bunch of built-in facilities just ready for them when they moved in. So we did pretty much a very similar thing with this one, where there's a lot of pre-built facilities. There's barracks, there's the kitchen I mentioned, there's a latrine, there's a medical facility, and I think a shooting range. And the only thing the player needs to do is repair them, because they were completely wrecked as the zombie hordes came and went, and as the military was pulling out. So in terms of facilities, this place is well stocked, and then you also have additional slots to do things with. So if you are still hoping to build your leader facilities there, you can. I'm also, it's not a facility technically, but I'm also just a big fan of the defensive towers this base has. You can just look around and see so much, and of course shoot a lot of things. And you're not even on them right now, Joe. What are you doing?
I'm getting rid of the things that I could see from those wonderful towers that are built here.
But you didn't shoot from the towers?
No, not yet. Here, I've got. It's lethal. There are plenty of zombies.
Okay, fair enough.
So go up to these. Here's one tower that overlooks the parking lot. Oops. If I could shoot straight. All right. So that guy's gonna come in the door.
The thing that's different about these towers is, unlike our other bases where we had one tower, this one has three. The Red Talon also has, when you fix up that facility, it also has three spots that are covering three of the walls. So this was a bit of a departure from how we'd mechanically set up the towers before as well. Yeah, like Lucy was saying, this is all part of the narrative that the military came back and reestablished itself, cleaned up a little bit, but then also ultimately failed once again. But this was a much strong point than, say, like the checkpoint. This is what they call a forward operating base, and it's where a good number of people would have been stationed to do operations within the Marshall area.
All right. So to go back to the point of what Lucy was talking about, once you repaired the guard towers here, your sentry that's on this one will keep this street almost all the way over to Blaine's Grocery. We'll keep it just completely safe. And then this one, as I already pointed out over here, this one will pretty much watch your parking lot as you're coming and going. And this one watches if you're coming in the back way. Also, there tends to be like a horde that kind of comes in this general direction from somewhere over there. And this person is pretty much in charge of taking care of that. So it's a very defensible base. One of the other things that I really like is there's door number 1. There's door number 2. And there's door number 3, right? And so, like, when you're under siege, you can just pop out. You're right at door number 3. You pop out, you're at door number 2. And, well, actually, from here, you can just do door number 2 and door number 1. And so you just kind of go back and forth. It takes a little bit of getting used to, kind of like the rat maze that you may have had to go through if you ever lived in dorms or barracks or anything like that. But once it's done, it's probably one of the better bases in the game. But it's still only third best on this map according to my math.
Come over here, Joe. I'll show you my favorite part about the space.
Okay. Oh,
The
yeah.
memorial.
So
This wasn't-
Eric Tan and Doghouse Actual, which Eric Tan was the soldier who died at the end
Of one.
At the end of one.
And
then-
Doghouse Actual was from Lifeline.
And Doghouse Actual was voiced by none other than some guy.
A really bad, a really terrible VO choice, but you know, we had a budget, so we did. But this was also important to me to just to show that, you know, I support veterans and appreciate the sacrifices they've made, because that's how they celebrate the life of their friends who they've lost. So
well, and if you don't mind me saying, Brant, when we went to PAX Prime just recently, one of the first places we stopped was stackup.org.
Yep.
So, you know, if you've got extra money and you like helping out veterans, you could do a lot worse than that. But than to give them some help. They do great things. Oh, hey, look, it's a feral.
And look, there's a horde coming from right where you said it would come from.
Yep.
Nice.
Sorry. I had to show off just a little bit there. All right, so the next place we're going to go to, and what I consider to be only the second most powerful base on this map, is actually my current home. So here we go. Welcome, folks, to the Farmland Compound, where you and your friends too can help people get better. I got to get driving though, so we're going to skip over to this while we travel and let Lucy talk her talk.
Yeah. Farmland Compound was definitely always meant to be our biggest base on the map. It is, you know, themed after this narrative that at one point or another, the homestead there was fortified and turned into like a refugee camp during the early days of the crisis. And so there's a number of facilities that kind of benefit that, and you have the wide open spaces of the farm, characterized in 4 large slots. We went back and forth about whether or not we actually should have 4 large slots after talking about some of the built-in facilities, because that's a lot. We don't have too many bases like that, and they usually have other drawbacks. Whereas this one, you have a built-in medical facility and a built-in kitchen and some built-in sleeping areas that, you know, provide a bunch of additional benefit to the player. Also, the windows in that the medical building, you can't jump through them, so they are safe from zombies. That to me is a really huge plus.
Yes. No ferals coming through the window.
Yeah.
They
All
have
right.
to use the doors like everyone else.
Yep. Oh. Well,
Although I'm not sure if they use the doors just like everybody else, but they do use the doors.
One note, art-wise, on this, the radio room, which is up in that tower in the center of it, is after our next update will be much larger. Oh, there's a feral sitting on my face. Okay, ouch. He ate my spleen. I'm watching Joe dispatch this feral.
and then you got bored, I guess.
Well, I didn't want you to take all the glory. No,
All
but
right.
right now, occasionally you'll see an NPC sitting here by the signal booster running in circles. That's just that NPC desperately trying to get to the radio. So I've made some changes to this, and eventually that will be a larger tower that they will actually climb up in. But
All right, so this is the clinic area, the recovery bed, and the surgery area. Now your interact is right in the middle of the building, but this is all your infirmary, and that's one of the favorite things that I do enjoy about this space. Oh, we've got a juggernaut friend.
Oh, he's actually in the walls.
Somebody with a really big gun.
Somebody with a really big gun. We got plenty of somebodies with a really big gun. All right, let's
Yeah,
let's go talk to Ohio and let's see what he's got to say.
you got one of your people up there with the Otto Howitzer that I think took care of business on that.
Well, it's a good gun for taking care of business.
Sure it is.
Let's not.
Whatever.
See you later, Ohio.
Be right.
You just head on back to Columbus.
So someone asked why the medical facility, or why the beds aren't in the house and the medical facility in the garages, and this was actually a mechanical reason. So I wanted to make sure that these bases were provided the player with at least, providing variance and experience, and like base building challenges, or things you have to balance that you can't find in other bases. So in a lot of our maps, a lot of our bases have built-in beds, built-in kitchens. We didn't have very many built-in medical facilities. We had a lot of kind of storage boosters, and the obvious thing would be to use the why we can use it the garage. Separate thing. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Sorry, Lucy. We're just leaving you out to hang there. You're doing great, though. You're doing great.
But yeah, so we wanted
So
putting the medical facility made sense because in the apocalypse, you want to keep your injured people safe. So the players, a lot of people would expect the kitchen to be the house because that is what we do on a lot of other bases. But for this one, we decided it would be better to make it the medical.
And so the beds are actually out here, right? Like this is the bunkhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the bunkhouse is a huge thing. On a lot of ranches like this outdoors, they would have a bunkhouse like this, and so this totally makes sense from the idea that this is like the big ranch in the area. You've got the 4 large slats, which makes it on par, at least in terms of being able to play around with what you want to do within a base and how you want to play. It certainly puts it on par with the lumber mill in that other map, Providence Ridge.
Providence.
Yes.
That other map that I don't care about anymore. That other map that I don't care about anymore because this one's awesome. And then so you got a lot to play around with here. You got a shooting range, you got the storage in the barn out there. Also, I did notice that somebody was talking about that the only good use for the forge is to create this. There's how you make the coffee can mace. To answer the previous question, and also to prove to Maxie that there is one more. One thing that I have noticed, now I don't know if this was a change that you made to the forge or not, Lucy, so stop me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that in converting materials to parts via the forge, this is actually better than the CNC mill, which used to be the most effective.
Yes. I didn't make this change. My assumption is that because the forge is only unlocked by having, leveling up your skill to a certain point, right?
Yep.
So it's because you can loot CNC mills fairly easily. So it felt anticlimactic rather to have something you gain from leveling up your skill for so long be less powerful than the facility mod. I don't know who exactly made that change though.
Yeah,
I have to look into that.
It's probably you or Brant, but whoever it was, they were really smart. But I did want to point that out, and especially on lethal, that efficiency to parts is pretty powerful. All right, and then finally, and the thing which I'll probably get skewered on Reddit and everywhere else for, the base that I think is the most powerful is actually this one. Where are we? Yes, it's only 1,000 influence, folks. And yes, you can move there, and it's got rainbows and happiness and sunshine all over the place. But it's the factory, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. But just to know this is, in my estimation, at least in my current way of thinking, the most powerful base on this map. All right, Lucy, take us away, and then I'll talk more about
Real
why.
quick before Lucy starts, I would also like to say that the farm base is the only base that was previously a home base in SOD1. All the other ones are brand new.
Yeah, people are calling this one the bunny base. I definitely think it's not something I designed. This is the art is all Brant's work, but all the visuals of this base for theming are some of my favorite things in the game. With this space, we knew there was going to be a factory in Marshall. I pitched in the meeting, why do we always do industrial factories? This is the apocalypse. Clearly the machines aren't really useful for much anymore, so why not try to make it something else? I forget how exactly we landed at making a built-in garden, but that was pitched at some point. And then, of course, we needed an incinerator because we had the smokestack. So after, just trying to... Honestly, Brant, do you remember how we wound up with the tranquility theme? Because I'm having trouble remembering. Genuinely.
Originally, the first idea came from Kevin Pun, who was the original art director on State of Decay 2. He was starting to lament the fact that we didn't have much color in our drab apocalypse. So he started doing some colorful paintings on various buildings. And when you had suggested that we sort of take a base and twist it, make it something less obvious, then all of that started to coalesce really quickly. Once we figured out that this was going to be the spot for that sort of interesting base, then we started thinking about what they could do that would turn this structure on its side, and putting a garden up on top.
Right, it was that elevated structure that we were trying to figure out what to put up there. That would make sense. Okay, this is coming back to me now. And of course,
That's a bit of a fix. Go ahead.
No, just once you got your hands on it and like started putting in some of the early versions of the meditation garden assets, like we were all sold on it. And we players, I don't know if we haven't even shown off the best part of that garden yet, but more aesthetics.
So one of my first impressions when I came to claim this base is right here. Nature finds a way. So yes, nice.
That
touch.
was so a tree growing in the factory was something I actually really wanted for the abandoned sawmill in
Providence Ridge.
Providence Ridge. It had a perfect area for it, but one reason or another, it never got placed. And so since I was doing the bases in this one, I made sure I just put a tree there. And then as we started developing the idea around the base, I was like, well, if they're going to build the Tranquility, or if the Tranquility Garden is going to be up on top, they're going to see this as an opportunity to have another, augment this tree that's growing in the cracks. They're going to start augmenting it with other fun stuff. And so they turned it into like a little indoor garden. And then Mark Lautenbach, I asked him to help me out with something that they might paint on the floor. And he came up with this rock and lily pad sort of motif that then leads you through the base to the koi pond as people are, trying to make this a really nice livable space that's somewhat tranquil, except when zombies like that are eating your spleen. Sorry.
So I'm just kind of walking around. You guys saw me highlighting the incinerator there. Now the incinerator it's a new and unique facility here in the factory, and you can burn one of every. Basically, you burn one of every resource in order to gain 25 morale for 46 minutes, which, by the way, I thought that was absolute genius. and for people like me, especially who play lethal or just in general who are having difficulty with morale, this place is wonderful. You just spend a few resources and you got plus 25 morale here. Now you got all kinds of
And
things
it gives
to
you
go.
storage buffs.
Oh yeah, and it gives you plus 5
Yeah.
to storage, but
Yeah.
on each one, so you can keep going and exceeding by burning just a few things. You can keep exceeding your normal storage limits because it helps keep down decay. Because theoretically, you're burning all of the older stuff first. Is that what you were gonna say? Did I steal your thunder there, Lucy?
No, you're always burning the new stuff. No, yes, no, you're fine.
And then,
The,
of course, the meditation garden that everybody loves, and also is the biggest reason why I think this base is the most powerful on this map, is because you can also attach like a compost bin, or you can attach one of the things that another of the spaces that comes from Tressie. For those of you who found it, great. For those of you, and for those of you who don't, finish Tressie's quest line. Okay. And find out what I'm talking about. But basically, you can make it between, if you have an herbalist like I do, and you also put something on it to boost its output, you can make 5 meds from this one small slot facility, I think is what it is. Is it small slot or large slot? I don't remember. So if you're careful, just inside this one base, you can take care of your med needs, you can take care of your food needs, plus you've got 2 large slots. This is the best 1,000 influence you will ever spend on a base, ever, anywhere, for eternity. So
I can't believe you didn't say anything about the benefit of being able to play soccer.
not yet.
in this base.
We've got hordes coming. We're having friends for dinner.
If we had had the time, I wanted to add an achievement for getting like tracking, how far you get those exercise balls from the base.
Yeah.
Like kick it all the way to Marshall or all the way to Figurefield rather, or something like
Oh my
silly
God.
like that.
You know what would be really fun though is if the zombie, like if you like somehow could fill these with like zombates and just kick them around, and then just watch the zombies play ball.
Like the catnip toys that you fill with.
Yeah. Right? Like fill it with zombate and just let the zombies go crazy as they chase the ball. They're like, "Ow, ow." No, am I the only one who thinks of that? Oh.
Well, we can make we can
Now
add it
you're
to
not.
our ideas list.
Aimbot? I don't think so. But anyway, it's aim snap, but okay.
We just spotted zombies.
Oh, zombie threat at home.
Shouldn't be a problem though.
All right, so where are we at in time? We're almost right on time. So, I really love this base. Hopefully that didn't start too much of a thing. I think in terms of power, this base is awesome. The artwork on this is absolutely amazing. It's super bright. Also, one of the things that I noticed here is Kiki Trig. If you're watching, congratulations. There's your Easter egg. We found it. We love you. It's in this base. Okay.
They may be streaming right now too. Wednesday's their usual State of Decay day.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe they're watching, and maybe we just spoiled it for them, and I just feel bad, but I
They'll
don't.
see the recording later.
Maybe.
For the sheriff, we'd be in bad shape.
All right.
Yeah.
A little something at the
Moderator's sleeping. No, it's probably just they sent 5 messages at once. I'm sure they're banned by now.
I probably spent more time arting that base than any of the others, just because it was so much fun, and it was huge, so it needed a lot of detail. But that one was definitely worth it. I'm really glad that Lucy, we went with your idea to mix it up, because I love the different flavor and retasking of that space. It just feels right.
Now, another reason why I think it's one of the most powerful bases on this map is this little thing right here. This shortcut, it may not be as central as the farmland compound, but it's pretty close. and it doesn't take a lot, but you can expand it. I've got a community of 11 that live there in the factory right now. They are happier than clams. They haven't been that happy since they moved to lethal zones. So, you know, I love that base and everything that it does for me. Not that the others aren't bad, but I
There's
absolutely love
definitely.
the factory.
Not gonna lie.
We were trying to build a base for varied needs, of course. So, Tranquility definitely fits the morale and meds niches, which we don't quite cover on a lot of other places, because normally we expect players to build their own morale facilities or take the coffee outpost or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But it felt like such a departure and such just a fresh view, and I really appreciate it. So, anyway, thanks y'all. That was super awesome.
Also, side note, I'm seeing some chatter about the ISB mission. We are aware that it's not quite working as expected, and we're going to be patching that as soon as possible. So, or rather, whenever we're planning to release a patch,
We're
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're making sure that the patch doesn't break anything more.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh,
There has not been a stream covering the landmark outpost on Trumbull. We probably don't need a whole stream to cover that.
and I want to save as much as we can for Jeffrey. He might want to take a look
Okay.
at that.
Yeah, we'll leave that one to
the next
Jeffrey.
stream. Because we only have a few minutes left, and we've probably got a backlog of questions. I hope. Or are we pretty much up to date?
Let's see.
I think we're up to date.
I'm scrolling through the stuff on Slack.
So
Okay.
Joe, in defending this base, where I am up in the barn is my favorite spot.
Oh, just standing up in the barn.
Yep.
It makes it so you never die. I'll give you that.
You get to cover 2 gates as well.
But you don't get to cover the one that's under your feet.
That's what the rest of my people are for.
It's for this one gate?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't say it like that. For this one gate? Yes, for that gate.
Well, see, I was not going to go up this ladder because I didn't want to talk about. I didn't know if it actually led up anywhere because I was afraid.
It leads up to the hay loft.
People.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. That's good because we have another ladder that probably. Oh no! I just found a bug by dropping my butt.
That's funny. I didn't run into that bug.
You want to see how you do
I
it?
think that's just not using the ladder. That's
well, I should
technically a feature. It's not a.
shouldn't be allowed to not use the ladder. Especially when
Fair
there's
enough.
a fence that I just walked through. All right, so night is falling, and we've got some of the light on, so we can talk about lighting and Megan, which we meant to do before, but we didn't really have the lighting opportunity to talk about it. So, Brant, if you want to
Well,
talk a little more about that.
all I can say is that Megan is a goddamn superhero. Not only is she doing community work, she's doing a lot of our marketing work. She said she has been a lighting artist in the past at other studios, and seeing as we were operating without a lighting artist or a lighting technician on this map, she bravely stood up and said, "You know what? I'm going to figure out the spaghetti nightmare that is your 2 off-the-shelf, uncooperative lighting systems and bend them to her will." And I believe that this is the best lit map we've ever done, and it's mostly down to her kicking so much butt. This game would not look nearly as good as it does without her stepping up and seeing a need and filling that need. And she did it with with a lot of frustration too. She dealt with a lot of frustration because I'm changing the map, or I'm changing the bases all the time, and then the Valkyrie folks were changing the bases, and Megan would just be like, "I noticed you changed stuff. I guess I'll go fix it." You know.
No, she was just the hero of the base layouts. Like, there's so many, and there were like bugs with the lighting system too that she had to deal with as well. So it's Megan. Just if you're watching, just know we love you. We appreciate your work, and
Yep.
they look awesome.
And
Super
the lights
hero.
are really well placed, and everything is just so soft. And nobody wants to take a bath in the dark. So that's really well done. Especially when you're trying to get all clean for like surgery or something. But the lighting all over the place. I had talked about the red Talon base, but everything here is just super awesome and really understated. Look at this along the wall there. Just everything looks so great. Megan's probably our moderator on Twitch right now, and so hopefully
Yep.
her face has gone red enough about us gushing about her. But there's just not enough that we can say, Megan, you're super awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
You deserve to be up here and getting recognition for what you saw, and I was glad to see you do that for the dev stream last week. So anyway, awesome.
A couple little things about this base that will change in another hot fix later will be the rocks that are in the middle of the road down here will be gone because I crashed my car too many times on these friggin' rocks that that I went in yesterday and just deleted them. So hopefully Doug Juno, who is our level guy, our level person, isn't going to be too mad that I've gone in and destroyed those rocks. But man,
Okay, so if we suddenly start having issues with the parking spaces, we know it's your fault.
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
blame it all on me.
And mostly if you hit rocks there that aren't visible anymore, we know who to call and to blame.
Oh,
Well,
go ahead.
Hopefully, everybody will forget that I said that, and we can just blame it on Doug.
Awesome. That's great.
One other thing I wanted to mention about the farm base, for any of you who are having issues with the built-in beds have a passive that activates and deactivates at weird times. There is a fix coming for that as well. That thing has been it's kind of like the
So, you got a favor to ask.
I don't know. It's like the thing you have to keep duct taping, and you think it's fine. You think you don't need to do anything else with it, and then suddenly something else breaks after you've tested it. So,
Game development is hard. Fixing things is harder. And of course, sometimes when you put one thing straight, you realize that thing was curved to keep the other thing from blowing up completely.
Yep.
And so, thank you for your patience and thank y'all for being here. We're going to go ahead and we're getting close to the end.
Well, I would like
Am I
to
a
say
little too
one.
early?
I would like to say one last thing. Huge thanks to Lucy, because had she not come in with enthusiasm and really wanting to make things more interesting, we probably wouldn't have tried to do some of the new things with facilities and bases that we did. We would have probably stuck with what was safe and known and just plugged them in. But Lucy showed up with these ideas that thankfully there was no one around to say, no way, we can't do that. And Lucy went, okay, I'm going to do them and people will love them. And that's brave. And you have made, again, this map is the best thing we've done. And so in large part to you pushing forward some new ideas and getting us old dogs to learn some new tricks. So thank you, Lucy, for your hard work on this as well.
All right, I'm kicking you out
Thank
now,
you.
Brant, so that I can
Bye.
pause the game properly. All right. So that's it for our show this week, folks. I want to say a big thank you to Lucy, to Brant, and to all of everybody else on the team that has just made this update such a success. And thank you to all of the players out there. You guys are doing great. You're helping us. You're reporting your issues. Thank you to the beta players who were testing through some of this stuff and some of the issues. Keep reporting them. We are tracking them, and we will keep fixing as we continue to support the game. So just keep reporting and keep engaging with us. We love you here, and we couldn't do this without you. Thank you for making our jobs possible. Brant?
I can't say anything that you didn't just say. We owe it all to the people who are watching us today, and hopefully we can continue to provide new and exciting things for you.
And Lucy, what would you like to say?
Thank you all so much for playing. And for the kind words. I'm really glad that that people like the content, and we're any feedback you guys want to contribute for stuff that's broken, please tell me, because you never know.
Yeah, we can always try. If nothing else, we can always try. So anyway, thank you everybody, and hopefully I pressed the right button here.
Is this where it gets awkward, Joe?
I think so, because I'm not sure. I hope I pressed that right button.
Jeffrey has an awkward button.
It'd be really awkward if you pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
Like just keep broadcasting forever button.
It would have been even more awkward if I'd made a dumb joke on the screen that just popped up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I happy that I can't see it?
I don't know. Do you like having the trifecta pack called a Neapolitan mixture of weapon flavors?
I like it.
Okay. Well then, I guess we're good. All right.